Hey there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. Here in sunny San Diego, this May gray has not been so great. Actually, it's been really sunny. It's been a really lovely end of the spring and coming into summertime. Can you believe it? My daughter gets out of school in just a couple weeks. Her and I are taking mother-daughter bonding trip to Florida to see family for a while. Also, this is the lovely beauty of having the freedom and flexibility. I'm also going to take a couple of days and work with clients there so we can stay longer and I can spend time with my parents as they're getting older and also see my niece. So it will be a lovely summer. In the McLeans, we also have a camping trip planned as a family. And then we also do some fun things over the summer here at Play Tourist in San Diego before it's back to school. And this episode we're coming into it's an energetic shift that's really required as an entrepreneur that's not often talked about in the business space. And I'm going to get into what that really means. But to start, it's really starting to imagine and embody and detail out what you want your summer to be. Even if you're listening to this episode, in the middle of the summer or towards the end of the summer, you still have time to create it now, even if it's the last week. Or what is it that you want for fall or the end of the year, depending on when you're listening? And it's this energetic shift of learning how to bet on yourself and really trust yourself. So I just finished teaching this monthly manifest and move class. It's a class to embody being a CEO and manifest and attract what you want to bring into your life and business and do somatic processing to process out what you don't need and create space to call in the new and really clarify and declare what it is that you want to call in. So that's why I do this practice the first Monday of every month. So if you miss this month, you can catch July's will be July 7th, and then there will be another one in August. So you can get registered using the links in the show note. But that's what we were really practicing today was calling in what we wanted to create for the summer and releasing what's standing in the way and creating space for yourself to have the courage to show up as that person that will create what you're really desiring. And who you are has to happen first before you can actually do the work that you want to do to call it in, whatever you want to call in, whether that is more clients in your one to one, more clients in your group program, clients that get a certain type of result, how you want your personal life to be, the interactions with your partner or your family and your children following work. What do you want to do on the weekends? How do you want to feel? And all this work starts with this fundamental philosophy of learning that, okay, if I set an intention, I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to trust myself that it's going to happen. Now, I feel that there's some people that whatever circumstances they came into the world with, whether it was caretakers, whether it was karma, past patterning, some people I think come into the world with this unconscious knowing and trust of always betting on themselves. And then they're able to magnetically attract and manifest what they really want to cultivate and create. And some of us, however, have to work on this, and especially a lot of wellness practitioners and entrepreneurs. I think we get into the space to help people, and it's sometimes from a very humble space of a place of serving. And we want to keep that. And at the same time, we want to show up to this space of serving and giving from filling our cup first. I know that's a very generic, overused phrase, but what that really starts with is innately learning how to say, okay, this is what I'm really wanting to create. And I'm going to believe it so fully that it becomes unconscious so that how I show up in my day to day is all steps to work through towards that. Even if you fail, right? Part of the process is, sometimes magnetic manifestation, we think it means that we set an intention and then it just happens. But really, the truth of that is, and this is where the betting on the self, trusting yourself really comes into play, is that there's failures and they might be small failures, they might be micro failures, and they might be large public failures. But having that trust and the ability to bet on ourselves to keep going through that is the work, my friend. Because when you bet it on yourself and you trust yourself and unconsciously, that eventually it will happen, whatever it is, maybe a revenue goal, client goals, etc., how you want your summer to be. For example, what you'll do is at the end of workshops, you'll confidently make offers. In fact, in your classes where you're teaching in your workshops, you'll seed your program and tell client stories just naturally. You'll show up on Instagram. You'll listen to your audience and bring that phrasing into your content, into your emails. Versus when you're not betting on yourself, you might spend a Sunday afternoon that you really wanted to be relaxing, but now you're starting to worry and get anxious. And you'll spend hours, which can be an energetic leak, especially when you're trying to craft the perfect Instagram post about your workshop, right? When you're frantically trying to create content or spending time in your business that you hadn't been planned to spend time in, it is an energy leak because often unconsciously you might be spinning in thoughts or there might be a flavor of doubt or worry. You might be writing and then rewriting and writing again and then doubting. And then when you finally hit publish, you have forgotten to include a clear call to action. And all of it could be from this doubt of what if only three people sign up? What if no one wants your offering? What if no one relates to the post? What if someone gets mad? What if you get called out? What if an old boss sees it? Right? All these thoughts come into play instead of betting on yourself and trusting yourself. Oh, I might get it wrong. Yeah, someone might call me out. Or like I've been embodying this brand new thing, the monthly manifestation and move class. And I have similar thoughts. What if no one shows up? What if they don't like it? What if it never fills? But instead, I go to the place of, I know eventually it'll fill. And I can start the marketing off slow till I get momentum, till I get more confidence. And I know if I just stick with it long enough, it's going to fill. And I'm going to have a full room and it's going to be very powerful because when more people are having more trust and belief in their businesses and showing up and creating what they want to create and are on higher energetic and vibrancies day to day, instead of exhausted and tired and doubting most of the time, then there's a ripple effect into the world. So I'm going to keep showing up and I'm going to bet on myself and put in the time ahead of time before I see the results. So what does that look like? It might mean I show up to a few classes where there's only one or less than five people. And I might be only making 20 or $100 in the hour when normally, I charge a few $100s for an hour. But I know the potential for both my audience, my clients, my community, the way I want to serve is so strong. I'm going to bet on myself ahead of time to show up and learn and tweak and trial and get it right. I had to do this from my one-to-one when I was pivoting from being a brick and mortar practitioner to online. I had to do it when I was pivoting from being practitioner only, serving B2C, so clients helping them with their wellness or their body, to now doing business coaching and bringing a brand new offer and helping people in a brand new way. I had to bet on myself with no evidence that I could actually make it happen. But I did. And if I can do it, then you can do it too, because I'm not a special snowflake. So, a very common place where I see practitioners not betting on themselves is the call to action or seeding client stories or feeling too slimy, salesy. They have a lot of doubts, or it can come from a place of lack of worth, lack of trust in their offer or belief in their offer that they really get people results, lack of belief in themselves as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, as a practice owner. And so what happens is we play small, right? These are kind of esoteric phrases, but what does playing small mean? It means that you just end a workshop and you don't give them the next step, or you don't stay there and have a conversation, or most frequently, you don't schedule people that are interested right there, the end of a class or a workshop or a conversation at a networking event or in the DMs. You frantically rush through a conversation and maybe push someone too quickly, or you back off a conversation completely because you're not trusting or betting on yourself that it'll actually work, or that someone will be happy that you extended the invitation or sold them, quote unquote. Another place I see it is schedule, not betting on yourself to get the work that needs to be done within a scheduled work time. So, for example, you're only working when your children are in school from 9 to 2, and then you're going to be present for them, and then maybe doing another hour or two, 8 to 9 or 7 to 9, and then you're going to completely unwind from 9 to 10 and go to bed. You don't have kind of a structured rhythm, or for me, I do better working 8 to 4 and then stopping completely for the evening and replenishing and then starting over again the next day. You're not betting on yourself to know your rhythms of how you work. So then you can adequately schedule it out for the week and plan ahead, or your innate rhythms, even for a quarter or a year. I know for me to stay replenished and lit up for my calls and present in my calls every day, like when I'm showing up to calls, is 1 week a quarter or a week and a half a quarter. I need to take off and not have any calls and not do any work. I need to do that at least once a quarter to stay energetically replenished. But I have to bet on myself to schedule in that vacation time and to go all in when I'm scheduled to work. And then the third area where people tend to not bet on themselves, especially if you're starting out, is investing. Investing in the software that you might need for your business. So, for example, hesitating to invest $20 a month for ChatGPT that can save you so much time and create emails to create clients sooner rather than later, or less than $20 a month scheduling system that can level up your professionalism, help with reminders so clients show up, or just save time reducing back and forth. Simple investment things in your business that can really level up your game and professionalism, as well as investing in business skills. I see practitioners, they're betting on themselves for practitioner skills and they invest for practitioner skills, but sometimes often they're investing in practitioner skills because they're not betting on themselves and they're feeling that they need more practitioner skills so they can be a quote unquote better practitioner. So often investing in practitioner skills comes from a lack of trust and betting on themselves. So it's knowing that to bet on yourself, sometimes for business skills, you have to go it first, bet on yourself first, invest first, and then, the reward or the return on investment of betting on yourselves come after. I can't tell you the number of times I've invested in my own business where I didn't want to take it from savings. So I bet on myself and I put it on a credit card. And then after I did the work, and sometimes in the middle of the container or sometimes early on, sometimes it's just the decision of investing. I just had a client on a consultation call actually, and we kind of were talking about her offer and she was giving me the details and she was deciding between publicly releasing that she was doing had a 3-month offer versus session by session. And on the call, she kind of, verbalized some of those details with me. And then when we were reconvening to decide whether she was going to move forward in the program or not, and we were on to the next call and she was moving forward in the program, she told me that she showed up to that first call and said, I signed a client for my 3-month program in that time because she decided that she was going to work with me and she was a yes and she bet on herself. And so it changed how she showed up within a week. And she went out there and signed her very first 3-month client. So sometimes it's just the decision to bet on yourself and that return on investment can come really fast. That's happened for multiple clients of mine. For me, that's happened in a couple of programs. Some programs, it takes me longer, halfway or towards the end of a program where I'm seeing the return on the investment. Or sometimes it's even after the program ends, as long as I'm continuing the work, then I'm like, oh, I just got it. I just got my return right now. And sometimes it's energetically, sometimes it's emotionally, sometimes it's how I'm showing up as a CEO, and sometimes it is revenue wise. You have to look at all these factors, but it all starts with me or my clients betting on themselves enough to invest. So those three areas, the showing up and confidently selling, making calls to action, making offers, writing the content, doing the content, being visible, right? All the marketing and selling in your work, that is one area where you really have to bet on yourself, trust yourself to show up. The other is your schedule, to know when you're going to work and not work and plan ahead and bet on yourself that you can make your goals happen within the time frame, the schedule that you really want it to happen. And then the third is betting on yourself to invest, whether it's specific software or tools that you need in your business, or whether it's practitioner or business skills, and knowing the reason why you're investing. Are you investing because of lack, or are you investing because you are betting on yourself? Betting on yourself isn't just about confidence, it's a commitment to the process. When you say, I bet on me, I trust me, I mean specifically committing to taking the action steps to create that result for yourself. And you can kind of break it down into a 3-step process if you want. It can also just be an energetic shift for yourself. But if you wanted to process, the first step would be making a clear, specific intention that you want to show up for yourself. Second is knowing the action steps that you need to take to make that intention happen. And third is to do the betting on yourself and trusting yourself to actually show up and follow through with those action steps. And that's as simple as it can be, but it can really change everything versus spinning and worrying because sometimes you don't know that clear next step to take in your business. Or you have an elusive, kind of foggy dream or goal that you want to hit, but you don't know the concrete steps quite yet. But if you bet on yourself, you just ask yourself, what's the smallest next step I can take right now? And then you do that. And then that unfolds. It's like this trust step process where when you take one step, then the next step will magically appear for you. And then you do that, and then the next step, and so forth. And that it takes huge trust and a leap of faith to do it that way. Or sometimes you do know all the clear steps and it's betting yourself to take the next steps or pivot or shift if needed. Sometimes for me, I get so rigid on the steps. I'm like, oh no, I need to do this or this. And I get kind of fixated on that because I think having the steps, the protocol, the process, that's what sometimes creates safety for my nervous system. But sometimes it is to be able to evaluate the data and shift and change, even if it feels scary. And that, takes trust to shift and change into an unknown away from a process. But when you do that, you are betting on yourself. So, what happens when you do start betting on yourself? Well, first of all, you show up bigger, more confidently, you have more trust in yourself. You never have to wait for your coach to get back to you. It just kind of confirms hunches and it allows you to show up to your coaching calls or programs that you do invest in, knowing exactly what you want to get out of them and coming prepared. Like, I need to talk about this and this and this because you know where you're going. You evaluate your business more so you know what doesn't work. So then you can bring that to coaching to be like, I really want to create this. I tried this. It didn't work. What happened? What went wrong? How can I optimize or do it better? You'll show up more visibly on Instagram, fail on Instagram. Hello, that's me. And then you'll refine and you'll improve. That's how my views the last couple of weeks have been so good. 4,000, 8,000. My views have never been higher per reel. So you show up in a much bigger way. And what happens when you do that? Your revenue becomes more predictable because you are showing up bigger. You're making more calls to actions. Clients become more reliable. Your confidence builds through evidence, not just affirmations. You can actually are building now all this evidence where when I trust myself and I do this, then I create this. You actually have a list of how many times that's happened for yourself because you trust in yourself and bet on yourself and invest in yourself in all these different ways. Then you attract clients who are ready to invest and also bet on themselves for their health. They invest with you to trust you to fix their gut and they believe that their body will heal. They just need help knowing how, for example. And because of all this, your content will become magnetic. So you stop creating content hoping that someone might be interested. And then instead, you believe and you know that eventually you're going to get it right. You just have to figure out how to, create reels that are easy to read or watch all the way through. So you're playing with the algorithm's favor. So it does get shown to more people and it resonates with those people that it is shown to. Here are some strategies to start implementing right now. Number one is you can start implementing the because I believe offer formula. So instead of saying I have a new program starting soon, if anyone's interested, or doing a beta to test or doing crowdsourcing, you do want to gather information from your market. But how can you do it in a way that you're betting on yourself, knowing that you're going to create a program that your audience wants and loves and it will fill? So believing first and then going out there or saying, instead of saying, if anyone's interested, I'm opening 3 spots in my signature program because I believe every woman deserves to feel strong in her body. If you're ready to transform your relationships with movement, DM me strong. See the difference? Instead of, I have a new program starting soon. And if everyone's interested to, I'm opening 3 spots. There's a huge difference. Okay. So strategy number 2 is the expert assumption Instagram approach. So post content assuming that you're already the expert instead of I'm still learning about the pelvic floor health, but here's what I think. Try after working with dozens of postpartum women. Here's what I discovered about the pelvic floor recovery. You are the expert for someone. Own it. And then the workshop bridge CTA. Get used to seeding your client stories within your workshops, within your classes, in your networking events, wherever you show up. And then at the end, use the framework. If today's session resonated with you and you're ready to dive deeper, I work with X, so your ideal client, to achieve transformation through your program name. 3 spots are available at this rate or with this bonus till now. Here's how to grab one. Then pause and let it land. Don't rush into disclaimers. Just say the 1 or 2 sentences and pause. And you can even say, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to book now, and then we're going into Q&A. I used to do that all the time. Or come talk with me after the workshop. I'll get you booked right now. The key is to book them right now. Bet on yourself. Trust yourself that they do want to work with you now. And then give them the space to do that. Now, if people think you're being too pushy, they probably weren't your ideal clients anyway. They were just seeking low ticket offers or freebie offers. Controversially, if you bet on yourself and believe that people do need your help, you offer an amazing program to help people need your work, then you will believe that it's of service to make these calls to actions and show up more visibly. And your ideal clients are waiting for someone confident enough to guide them to the solution they need, right? They don't want to work and buy a program that's 3 months long or a few $1,000s if someone's like, well, I think maybe you need this, or you can try this. I'm not really sure if it works, versus having someone that is showing up as the expert, betting and trusting themselves to say, here's what you need, XYZ. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. We're going to pivot if needed. Well, if you're not progressing as we think you would, I'll figure out exactly what's going on to keep you on track. I will guide you through the process. See, one creates safety where someone is like, oh, I feel supported. She's going to tell me what to do. We're going to figure it out. If it doesn't go the way that we hope, I feel trust. I feel safe to take the next step forward. Versus the other one, when you're hesitant, then they're hesitant. And it doesn't create that safety that someone needs to take the step forward. Okay, so this week, I want you to pick one of these areas, whether it's your call to action, seeding your story, how you're showing up visibly, showing up more. Pick one specific thing that you're going to do in that area. Or you could work on your schedule, saying, I'm going to work between these hours and I'm actually going to take off during these hours and I'm not going to open my phone or my laptop into work apps. Or you can work on investing in yourself, investing in your business. Maybe you need a specific software, or there is a mastermind or a coach that you're wanting to hire, or practitioner skills, not from lack, but from knowing that this could really help your clients transform. Pick one of these, and I want you to go bet on yourself. Notice what comes up, the hesitations, the doubts, just write it out, acknowledge them, and then learn how to feel that trust in your body. Where is it located? What are your thoughts? How do you show up? And start to create evidence as a person who can declare something and trust him or herself, whatever pronoun you choose to use. You trust yourself enough to take the action that's needed to make it happen, because I know you can do it. All right, get out there, give it a shot, then message me and let me know how it goes. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.